November 24th, 1971. A stormy evening, a routine flight, and a man in a black suit. He called himself Dan Cooper. Hours later, he jumped from a Boeing 727 with a parachute, a bag full of ransom money, and disappeared into the dark clouds of history. No body, no trace, no answers. For over 50 years, one question has haunted America. Who was D.B. Cooper, and how did he vanish into thin air? It was the day before Thanksgiving. Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 was preparing to leave Portland for Seattle. Among the 36 passengers was a middle-aged man in a black suit, white shirt, and black tie. He bought his ticket under the name Dan Cooper. Nothing about him seemed unusual until the plane reached the skies. After takeoff, Cooper ordered a drink, bourbon and soda. Moments later, he handed a flight attendant a note. She thought it was just another man trying to flirt, until he leaned in and whispered, "Miss, you'd better take this seriously. I have a bomb." Inside his briefcase, wires and red cylinders confirmed the threat was real. Calm and confident, Cooper made his demands clear. $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle to refuel the plane. If his demands weren't met, he would blow up the aircraft. Passengers had no idea what was happening. They thought it was just a routine delay. When the plane landed in Seattle, the ransom money and parachutes were delivered. Cooper let all the passengers go in exchange, keeping only the crew on board. He then instructed the pilots to head towards Mexico City, but at a dangerously low altitude of 10,000 feet, and with the rear staircase lowered. Somewhere over the dense forests of Washington State, during a stormy night, Cooper made his move. He strapped the ransom money to his body, secured a parachute, and walked towards the rear of the plane. With nothing but wind and darkness around him, he jumped, disappearing into the night. It was the last time anyone ever saw him. The FBI launched one of the largest manhunts in U.S. history. Military, planes, helicopters, and search teams scoured the forests, but there was no trace of Cooper. No parachute, no body, not even the ransom money. It was as if the sky itself had swallowed him. Over the years, theories multiplied. Some believed he didn't survive the jump. The weather was too harsh, the terrain too dangerous. Others claimed Cooper was a skilled paratrooper who carefully planned the heist and escaped into a new life. In 1980, a young boy discovered $5,800 in decaying bills buried along the Columbia River, confirmed to be part of Cooper's ransom. But the man himself? Still missing. Despite decades of investigation, D.B. Cooper was never found. His identity remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history. Was he a desperate man chasing one last thrill? Or a mastermind who pulled off the only unsolved hijacking in U.S. history? The skies keep their secrets, and D.B. Cooper remains a ghost in the clouds. The story of D.B. Cooper is more than just a crime. It is a legend. A man who walked onto a plane with a plan and walked off into eternity with the wind. Until the mystery is solved, if it ever is, one question will remain. Where is D.B. Cooper? For more than 4 decades, the FBI chased a ghost. A man who stepped into the stormy skies of 1971 with $200,000 and vanished without a trace. This was not just a hijacking. It was the beginning of one of the longest, most relentless investigations in American history. Operation Norjack. The night of November 24th, 1971, as soon as the plane touched down and Cooper disappeared into the darkness, the manhunt began. FBI agents flooded into Portland, Seattle, and the dense forests of Washington. Military helicopters searched from the air. Ground teams combed rivers, mountains, and wilderness. Yet, there was nothing. No parachute, no body, no bag of money. Only silence. But the FBI refused to give up. They launched Operation Norjack, the Northwest hijacking investigation. More than 800 suspects were examined. Some were criminals, some were war veterans. Others were ordinary men who suddenly fell under suspicion. Every lead, every rumor, every tip was followed. But one by one, the suspects were eliminated. The true identity of D.B. Cooper remained hidden. Forensic science became the FBI's weapon. Cooper's tie, left behind on his seat, was carefully examined. Decades later, new technology revealed strange particles on the fabric, titanium and bismuth, suggesting Cooper might have worked in aerospace or advanced manufacturing. It was a clue, but not an answer. Then, in 1980, hope returned. A young boy on the banks of the Columbia River discovered rotting bundles of $20 bills, $800, confirmed to be part of Cooper's ransom. It was the first real physical evidence since the night of the crime, but the discovery only deepened the mystery. Had Cooper died in the wilderness, or had he escaped with most of the money? Theories multiplied. Some believed Cooper was Richard Floyd McCoy, a man who hijacked a plane in almost the same way just months later. Others claimed he was a rogue paratrooper, a survivalist, even a retired airline worker. Each suspect brought excitement and disappointment. None of them matched the evidence completely. The legend of Cooper grew, while the truth remained out of reach. For 45 years, the FBI poured time, money, and resources into the case. But with every passing year, the trail grew colder. Finally, in July 2016, the FBI made a historic announcement. After 45 years, the case of D.B. Cooper was officially closed. The Bureau explained that resources were needed for more urgent threats, and that all credible leads had been exhausted. Operation Norjack was over, yet closing the case did not end the mystery. The evidence, the tie, the money, the files, remains preserved in FBI archives. Independent investigators, scientists, and curious minds still chase the truth. And, every so often, a new clue surfaces. A piece of fabric, a parachute strap, a faded dollar bill. Each hint breathes life back into the legend. D.B. Cooper walked into history with style, calm, polite, almost gentlemanly, and vanished into the night sky, leaving behind one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in America. Officially, the case is closed. But as long as the world continues to wonder, the story of D.B. Cooper is still alive. Somewhere, drifting in the clouds. Subscribe and follow for more.